wanted to research that because I've always been interested in reading and writing because it was a way that I could express myself, but being honest with myself, I don't have the patience to sit down and write a novel. So newspaper journalism was a really interesting topic because it relates to so many different people and connects so many different people. And I'm don't like to admit it, but I'm kind of a people person. So this was a really personal topic. I did my senior internship at Richmond Times Dispatch, which surprisingly is in Virginia, but yes. Um, I got to go, and my mentor, which was my next page, was a editor, one of the most senior editors on the paper. So I got to go into the newsroom, as you can see here in this picture, and experience the different sections of what makes a newspaper function in today's society. Research went into the perspective that I got from this internship and saying that a lot of how a newspaper is made is not only, oh, I can come write an article here and there, but it's the personality that shines through from the writer that really brings papers to the forefront, like the Richmond Times Dispatch. As it's changed and technology has taken over, it's less dependent on traditional methods. Therefore, if you can't keep up with the times, it's really hard for the business to thrive, which was my research question is, in modern times, how can newspaper journalism be formed into a business that's both entertaining and accurate, but also bring in profits and make it a viable entrepreneurship. This is my mentor, Bryce Anderson. As I said before, he is a senior editor on the Richmond Times Dispatch, which was pretty cool because he could delegate me to different sections of the newspaper, and that made for a amazing learning experience because he used to be a writer himself, and it was very difficult, or I was going to think that it was going to be very difficult to get in touch with somebody that's in charge of so many different things, but as he started out as a writer as himself and started from the bottom and worked his way to the top, he was very open with me and had set aside plenty of time for me to ask questions and go over different branches of the paper with him and the business. And he explained a lot of things that you wouldn't think of reading the newspaper that goes into it, all the way down to like layout and design, the text, fonts, and sizes and colors and pictures all go into what draws the eye to the paper. And the details that go into this are amazing. It's incredible. You wouldn't believe it. And this is one of the reporters that I actually went on call in the field with. His name is Mr. Livio, and he was doing education. And I actually got to go in and sit on a Richmond County school board meeting, and I got to see what kind of things he looked for when he was reporting. He also recorded the things, so when he went back and looked at the details, he could have that first-hand information to write his articles, which is really cool. I also went with another reporter who's not pictured. Her name is Vanessa Rumors, and I went to a Chesterfield County public school meeting, and it was really interesting because she was teaching me a lot about networking, and as it's important in any industry, newspaper journalism, since it connects so many different people, networking is your number one key to getting out there and being successful. She told me that you could meet someone in the grocery store, someone could drop something, you pick it up, and you could, everybody gets groceries, so you could meet somebody really high up in the school system. And and she also taught me that when you meet somebody, you always should keep in contact and get their information because you never know down the road when you might need to contact them for a story or a detail or actually get you in contact with other people that they may know that you wouldn't have a chance to meet. When I was at the Chesterfield school board meeting, it was really cool because I saw our Goochland previous superintendent, he had worked from Chesterfield, and he was describing to me how the transition over to Chesterfield and how the media related to it and how they portrayed it and how the newspaper covered it and how that kind of affected how he was accepted into the community by the parents who were working with their children. And so it's really interesting to see how newspaper journalism, even though it's changed so much, it still has as much impact as it did back in the day, which a lot of people don't think because it's a dying business, which in some aspects it is, but on the other hand, if you each unique perspective. And if you have a database of clients that not only buy the newspaper, which they said like 50,000, they said in print, that's their biggest way of getting information out. It's not even online. They counter that, which I thought was really amazing because so many people are like, I've always got the newspaper. But they've expanded onto internet resources. They have apps. In the newsroom, they actually have a screen monitor up on the wall, and they have a website that they use that tracks all their data of how many clicks on a link, how many people have visited a page or read an article, and what's drawn in the most people. And it even can tell you, like, throughout the day, it shows you a graph, a time graph of the people viewing the website, which is actually like in the morning at night, like before people say an after their day. So you can learn a lot about people themselves and you can target the audience more. So it was really eye-opening, this experience. And as you can see, his desk was very cluttered, but if you ask him where something is, he can tell you where anything is, because each one of those stories has so much of himself invested in it that he keeps track of it all, and you log it in his computer. So between those two things, I mean, it's just amazing. This is just one reporter. They've got an entire floor dedicated to these people. And I got to go visit with the archives as well, which is really cool because they, of course, they have tons of old newspapers from issues past, but they've also put a lot of the older ones on their little reels that you can project onto your computer. And you can, it's like a PDF file picture of the old issue, and so you can see the wrinkles and the time and the aging on it. But you can also come in if it's not in there, and you can look, and there are pictures with just handwritten dates on the back from back in the day, and you can look up the snowstorm back in like the 40s that you maybe need a research paper about, and they're here to help you. You know, they always take the time to come and help you out because they want to share their passion for documenting everything that's happening in our area. For my community service, and it's actually my legacy as well, is I started a student-led newspaper at GC17 Elementary School, which is right down the road. And my mentor was Miss Vera Pinelli. She was a third grade teacher, and she was really excited about this because she's really been wanting to start a student newspaper, but she's so busy she just didn't have the time. So it was like perfect that I could come in, and it was perfect for me because she was so interested in it. She set aside time for kids to work on this. And at first, you know, it was kind of rocky, and we went in there, and, you know, the kids were like, oh, this is interesting, but they didn't know how to go about it. And so I walked them through, and we did some surveys. We went through a PowerPoint that described the different things we could write about, because one of the most important factors is that the teachers and the principal wanted it based on the 7 habits that run the school. So it's like leadership and positivity, different aspects like that. And so we went through and came up with some ideas, and we did a section on what they're learning in school and did a survey about how they would conserve energy. So it really hit home for them, and so they were excited about writing it. And it was really interesting because, as I said before, like when newspapers connect so many different people, and it's really the writers that put forth the personality of the paper. There's this little girl that I actually found out that she was on the front page of our first edition, and her teacher came up to me one day and said, you know, when they found out that she was on the front of that thing, she was ecstatic because her family's been going through a really hard time lately, and she's been struggling a lot. She said when she saw that she had made the front page of that it just made her entire week. And that really touched my heart because being able to impact somebody's personal life by just having something, a creative outlet for them, is incredible to me. And we just finished our first issue a few weeks ago, and it's going to be put out on their school's like website. It's called Schoology, for some schools use, and they're going to put it out so that the parents can read it and see what their kids are writing and doing. And we're hoping that if we start out small as a leader for the other grades, then eventually we're going to open it up so that all grades can participate. And since they see that it's actually a common product, kids will be more motivated in doing it. What I've learned about myself through this is that newspaper journalism amazing as it is, I don't think it's quite the right avenue for me. But I give a lot of credit to people that can do it and can deal with the stress that goes into making it work each week. They have daily positions, a lot of people do, and making the deadlines. So when they're going into meetings to check out and set in on, it's like putting out ideas, but they might get shot down, but you have to be okay with that. Because it's all for the greater good of the paper. So I think I'm going to go down a different avenue, but I've learned a lot about how I connect with people. I've learned how to communicate and branch out to people. And when you branch out, you'll be surprised of how people are willing to help you. Because at first I was nervous. I was like, people are so busy. I hate to bother them. But they called. I was like, great. Come on down. Like, this is going to be really exciting. And they were just as excited as I was about this. And that really made this experience a lot better. Next year I'm planning to go into JMU. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to major in, but we'll see. I'm thinking recently about communications because, as I said before, I'm finding out more than I'm a legal person. But my advice to incoming students is, you're gonna get something done. Don't procrastinate. And if you do procrastinate, it's okay because always hope is not let us in the tunnel. And also focus on the big things of your project because the journals, they're important too. But you can always write a journal based on your experiences. And it's a lot easier than trying to come up with a research paper the last couple days until the deadline. So when you see that 12 o'clock due date coming up, just know that you might want to do it midnight a few days before it's due instead of 11, and finishing up at 11 right before the due date, because it is a lot of stress and it really does impact you. And so if you can focus on those things the rest of this month, so just something good, so get your hours and reach out to people. Don't be afraid to reach out to people because a lot of more people want to help you than you think. And so if you start early calling people, that's kind of the goal that you want to do, because if you don't, then people might be like, like other friends with other schools are like, we're really sorry, we want to work with you, but we just don't have time. And I'm like, yeah, no, that's fine. So if you leave a little room for rejection, then eventually something will suit you and come out that is actually going to be a lot more productive in your project. And also with the community service, you want to pick something that you're interested in, obviously. But I was like, I came up with this idea first. I was like, all right, well, I'm going to start the newspaper. But I was like, I want to think of something else, something that's more suited to me, because I didn't think that I was okay with, running the newspaper. Because I was like, wow, that's like really important. I've never been in that high, like that specific leadership role. But branch out a little bit, and that ended up being the perfect thing for my project. So I went back to that and did it. So as long as it's something that you want to do, like at least a little bit, and it will help you learn about yourself one way or another. Like, I'm not really suited to be a writer for a newspaper, but editing was really fun, so I might go down that avenue maybe. So just go for it. Just pick something. If it kind of relates to you, you're just one way or another, you're going to find something out about yourself, which was really beneficial to me. Are there any questions?
You talked about some of the satisfaction you got from working with the students next door. You mentioned the satisfaction of the little girl whose picture got to go into the paper. I wonder, in talking with the editor and writer at Richmond Times-Dispatch, if they get any satisfaction when their stories are published. Because traditionally, in a printed newspaper, you wouldn't necessarily get feedback from your stories unless you wrote something that people were angry about, right? You get letters to the editor, things like that. Today with social media, today with comments attached to stories, there are avenues for feedback. I know papers now are thinking about cutting out those comments because they tend to draw trolls to have arguments and takes away from the value of the article. But I was wondering if they ever talked about the satisfaction they get in putting their stories out to the public.
Well, me and Mr. Anderson were actually talking about, we were sitting in the office one day, and he told me that they had just done, it was do get a lot of negative calls. There actually are a surprising amount of positive calls, and some elderly gentleman called in and he was like, Mr. Anderson, like, y'all do a wonderful job. He's like, but John Glenn's birthday is coming up, and I would really like to see something special because I can remember as a kid sitting there in front of my TV set with the two little rabbit ear antennas and seeing that happen. And he said that getting that call and seeing that people care that much about it, and he said that he wanted to focus on the iconic like scene of it, and like he actually pulled up clips of the countdown and the iconic quote of God bless John Glenn, and it was amazing being able to see that, and also like World War II anniversary and pulling up because someone recommended a special front of the newspaper for that, and so they actually pulled up the old newspaper from back in the day when the war news came out, and they put that physical picture of that on the front of this newspaper so you can see all the edging and the old header and everything. And he said the amount of positive